Welcome, everybody, to Farmish Chat and Coffee, number 5. It is Friday, April 8th. I was trying to fix my hair before I realized we were going live. The thing about doing this in StreamYard is the video is mirrored, so when you try to reach your face and fix something, really you just mess it up because it's mirrored, and I never know what I'm doing. So I was quick trying to put my hat back on to yeah, so we could get going here. So anyway, if I'm kind of channeling my inner like I guess this would be called hipster now. This would have been clothes when I was in high school. I mean, this is what the alternative kids wore, or the goth kid, not goth. What was I gonna grunge. The grunge kids wore. I guess we wouldn't have probably had a hat like this on, but this is what made it onto my body this morning because y'all, it has been a week. I was like, it's Friday. I got a live stream. I gotta like wake up and get stuff done. So it has been a week. And I know for some of you all in the chat already, it has been a week. Rockinade Farm already said it is a TGIF kind of Friday. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It has been a week. And I know that Aaron and Nate over from Two Chicks Homestead, they had a week. Was that this week or last week? I can't remember. But man, it has been a week for some of y'all. Ashley says you weren't channeling your inner lumberjack. Well, I could go for that too. I could do that too. We probably need to cut wood. I don't know. It's cold today. It's cold. It is windy. I think we got like 30-mile-an-hour winds. I don't understand this. We had a week that was all snow and rain. There was a day that they said we were supposed to get 8/100ths of an inch of rain, and I don't even know why they're telling us that we're gonna get rain if we're only going to get 8/100ths of an inch of rain, right? And we got, I mean, they messed up the decimal point because we got so much rain, and it's the ground is still frozen here. I still cannot stick a shovel into the ground here, so when we get a lot of rain, it just all sits on top, and then we can't get in our driveway because we have a dirt driveway, and it's just mud, and we add gravel, and we add gravel, and I don't know where it goes, but we need to add more gravel because we have a mud pit right now. So, oh, yes. Letty from Liberty all day says, but 50s this weekend, Amy. Is that what your weather forecast says? Because I'm pretty sure that's not what mine says. It's not what mine says. I don't know. I'll have to check again. I was actually just checking because my birthday is on the 20th. So I was trying to figure out what's the weather going to be. And I realized that's like 2 weeks away and they can't predict what's happening right now when it's happening. But I'm like, what's the extended forecast say? And it said 60 a couple days ago. I was like, oh, 60 on my birthday. That's going to be fun. We'll get lots of stuff done in the barn. We'll go out and, do these things that need to be done. And now I think it says 48. Come on. Come on. Come on. All right. So what do I got for a coffee cup today? It's a big one. It's good because I'm trying to turn it and I gotta go the opposite of what I think. This is Mama needs some coffee, and it's a big old cup because it was one of those weeks and it's one of those days. I think we're just moving into that time of year when the farm starts to wake up and things get busy and chaotic, and my brain literally feels like it's mush right now. There is so much to do, and I'm just like, I don't like, what is the next thing? What is the next thing? Because that's all I can process right now. It's crazy. It's crazy. Today is a special day, I will tell you all, because it is my youngest boy's 18th birthday today. So happy adulthood to my youngest, which now means this is a house full of adults. It's a house full of adults. What the heck? How did this happen? How did this happen? I was thinking the other day how crazy it is when your kids get to a certain age. If you have kids, your kids get to a certain age and you remember being that age. Like when my kids turn 3 or 4 or 5, like I don't really remember being 3 or 4 or 5. You have a few memories of things, but I remember being 18, y'all. I remember being 19. And so it's crazy to look at my kids and think, wow, I remember being that old. I remember the things I thought about. I remember the way I processed life. I remember the way that I looked at situations. It's so crazy to think of that as my kids now. How did this happen? Both of my kids, oddly enough, were born. My kids are just over a year apart. And so both of my kids were born on the night that there was a barn fire locally. And the reason that I remember that is back in the day, my husband was a firefighter. And so he actually left to go fight barn fires, which happen, but they're not super common, but they happen, right? So he got back from dealing with this barn fire that he'd gone to, and I'm like, "Hey, I think we have to go to the hospital." So that was with my oldest, and then literally just over a year later, he leaves for a barn fire and comes home, and I have this look on my face like, and he's like, "Are you kidding me?" So we always thought, "Hey, our kids are probably gonna grow up to be firefighters, right? Or they're gonna grow up to be pyromaniacs," because it was just so weird. They both arrived right after there was a barn fire locally, but neither of them, as far as I know, want to be, firefighters, and I don't think they have any more pyromania than anybody else does, you know? You like to burn stuff in the campfire and things, but yeah. Alright, we've got lots of people showing up in the chat today. This is exciting. All the birthday wishes for my, the 18-year-old. I don't know what he wants to do today. I don't know if he has any plans. Usually at our house, if it's your birthday, you get to pick your special supper or whatever you wanna eat and, special dessert, and he has not informed us what that is yet, so but he's pretty low key. So, I'm not sure. I always look forward to birthdays because my kids usually pick Dairy Queen ice cream cake, and so I know I'm gonna get Dairy Queen ice cream cake, but we'll see what happens. I don't know. So what else? This week, if you listen to my podcast, you know that this week was the celebration of the 200th episode of the Farmish Kind of Life podcast, which is crazy to me. I started the podcast back in 2018. Most of its life, it has been a weekly podcast. I have increased that every once in a while. There was also a chunk of time when I didn't do any podcast. There was just life stuff going on, and I didn't really know what to say, so I didn't do the podcast for a while. But so it was the 200th episode, so that was very exciting. It was a super awesome episode. I had people send in like little notes and messages, and how has the Farmish Kind of Life podcast helped you, and how has the community helped you? And so that was super fun to read, but also like emotional. And I'm not an emotional person. I'm like super logical and analytical, and I do not get emotional. But I'm gonna tell you what, it was hard to read some of those things, and I was told by people in my Discord community that I needed to leave the emotion in. Do not edit that out. So I didn't edit it out. So you can hear me sniffling and getting a little emotional when I was reading some of those. So, but it was a fun episode, and I think it was just one of those reminders that, like, the community, it's like this spider web of things that happens. You talk about something, you don't know if anybody's listening. People are listening. They take that information and they do stuff with it, which helps other people do stuff. And it's just this lovely little spider web community, family tree kind of thing. So super fun. Let's see. Rockinade Farm says, I'm super bummed that I kind of missed out on that. Things have been so crazy here. I'm out of touch with anything going on outside my farm. It is that time of year. Man, it's just, and Rockinade, you're in Texas, so you are clearly ahead of me in this stuff right now. I'm still waiting for the ground to thaw here, and I'm getting so anxious, but um yeah, it's that time of year is coming. So it's hard to stay up. I tell you that the Discord chats and the Telegram chats and social media it's gonna slow down. Um, because I just think people are gonna be outside doing more stuff, especially people in this community. So it can be overwhelming. And I'm talking to Chris, Rockinade Farm right now, because we had a he had asked about this in a chat. I think it was Telegram or Discord, but sometimes you come back to these communities and the chats that they're having, and you've been busy doing your stuff all day, and you come back and you've got 617 messages because people have been talking all day, and it can be so hard to feel like a part of that community because you feel like you're not involved in the conversation. You feel like you're kind of outside because you're outside doing all your stuff, taking care of your job or taking care of your farm, but I really think that things are gonna slow down here because, y'all, I'm getting to that time of year, and I'm gonna hit the ground running, and within a day, I'm gonna be behind because that's that's how it happens. Anarchy says, "If your boys start a band together, they could go by the name the Barnfire Brothers." Yeah, they sure could. That's funny. I wonder if they remember that story about, that they arrived after barn fires. That's crazy. I don't know. Let's see. Corey says, I still want to hear the F-bomb song. So the F-bomb song. She is referring to something that was in the podcast. Somebody had asked me, when you do your 200th episode, you need to tell us what is your biggest fear about the podcast. Do you have like a fear about the podcast? And my biggest fear is that when I'm recording, sometimes I'll get frustrated with something, or I'll trip over my words, or there'll be something in the background. And I have a mouth like a sailor in real life. And so I will just let out this string of F-bombs. And sometimes I sing it like, oh my, yeah, I can't believe this is happening. Like, and I sing this song. And my biggest fear is that I'm going to forget to edit that out. And that y'all are going to be listening going, oh my gosh, I bet she didn't mean to leave this in, and messaging me saying, Amy, did you know, like, y'all. And I thought about it. Actually, it was funny because when I was recording something yesterday, my mouse would not work. This little mouse would not work. The batteries ran out. And so I'm trying to scroll down on my notes so I know what I was going to talk about next, and it's not scrolling. And then I can't X out of anything. And then I'm trying to stop the recording, and it won't because my mouse won't work. And so it was literally 3 minutes of me trying to get this mouse to work, and then realizing I had to go find batteries. And I'm talking the whole time, and it was not pretty talk. It was there would need to be a parental warning on those lyrics, if you know what I'm saying. Do they even do that anymore? I don't know. Am I showing my age? That was the 90s, getting those CDs with the explicit lyrics, explicit content sticker on it, or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Aaron from Two Chicks Homestead says the balance of being involved versus GSD, getting stuff done, getting shit done, is hard. It is. And I think that's why this time of year especially can feel overwhelming. It's funny because this was a topic that was actually on my list today, so we probably will get into this more, but yeah, it's hard. Rockin' 8 says, Jess had a major surgery, so I'm also down to helper. You down as a helper, or you're down a helper? Yeah, you got a lot of stuff going on there. I wish we could send some help your way. It would be warmer. Was it you who said it was 92 the other day there? I don't do 92. I don't do 92. That is too hot. All right. Carolyn, hello. I'm watching. She says, it's weird. I'm still a print and blog kind of gal, but I'm glad you're branching out. Need to reach as many like-minded peeps. Yeah, Carolyn, I feel like I've known you forever because we started talking back in early blog days. So I'm glad you're watching. You get to see my crazy blue hair and my grungy lumberjacky. I don't know what I'm going for today. This was what I grabbed that was clean. I remembered it was Friday and I needed to do a live stream. So yeah. Oh boy. Nicole says, I laughed at that part of your 200th. Well, I'm so glad y'all laughed at it. Maybe I'll have to do an outtakes episode. It's just here's all the stuff that Amy cut out in the last month. It might be funny. Martinson family says, you have our full permission to sing away, please. Yes. Letty, Liberty All Day says, you would make Samuel L. Jackson proud. Oh, yeah. It could be interesting. It could. I live, I grew up in a house of language. And I worked construction when I was younger. My parents owned a construction company. So, when you're sitting on the roof and you're doing roofing and something goes wrong, you learn to use words. You learn to use those words correctly. And then I married someone who had a mouth. And I have children who have mouths, and that's just what things are at our house. And profanity doesn't offend me. I just think you have to you have to know when to use it. And I never had a problem with my kids using it as long as they knew when it was okay and when you needed to use a filter, because obviously you need to know when to use a filter. Okay, everybody is requesting the F-bomb song. I'm gonna have to do that as a special recording for the listeners of A Farmish Kind of Life. I'm writing it down right now. The The F-bomb. So, y'all. Special recording with a parental advisory sticker. So, what else is happening? I finally started seeds yesterday. I started seeds, so that was very exciting. It always takes me longer than I think it's going to take, but it's good because I get to, play with the dirt, which is exciting because all we have here is mud or frozen mud. It's all frozen again this morning, so can't really play with that. But I did start my seeds, and here's a funny thing. I put on social media the other day that I had brought out I had to order seed starting stuff because locally I couldn't find anything. Every store I went to, it's all out, and then I check again and it'd be all out. I'm like, screw it. I gotta order this from Amazon. So I ordered stuff from Amazon that would fit on my seed starting shelf. It arrives, I show my husband. I'm like, oh, the seed starting stuff came. So tomorrow I'm gonna start seeds, right? And he looks at me and he's like, how many of those did you order? How many of these trays did you order? And I said 4 because I have 4 shelves in my seed starting area, right? Right. And he looks at me and he's like, are you sure that you need to start that many seeds? I'm like, what are you talking about? I always start this many seeds, like whatever. So then I made a joke about it on social media, and I was like, "Ugh, I don't know if I can deal with this kind of negativity in my life. It's been really fun being married to my husband, but he's basically asking me why I'm starting so many seeds, and do you need to start so many seeds?" And so I go to start the seeds yesterday, and what I realize is I bought the same size tray, but instead of it being like I wanna say what I normally buy is like a 36, you can fit like 36 little pods in there or whatever. This was a different kind of setup, and it was actually 72 sections with little, seed starting stuff. 72 times 4, okay? So my husband was asking me, he's like, 72 times 4, do we okay. Normally you start, however many seeds, 120, 100 and whatever, and now you're starting like 280, like, and I always have extra, right? I always have extra. I give some to my dad, I give some to other family members. I always have extra. So he's thinking, now my wife just doubled what she's starting. We never even have enough room to like when we have to pot these up, we don't have enough room for it anywhere. Like, what is she thinking? And I simply hadn't done the math. So I kind of talked bad about my husband on social media, which most people realized was a joke. And I said it was a joke. And it's a whole nother story that we're going to get into because some people didn't realize it was a joke. But yeah, so I told him today I would come on the live stream and I would apologize because he was right. I really didn't need to get that much stuff because I really don't need to start that many seeds. It's a lot. I don't know where I'm going to put all this stuff when I have to pot it up. It's going to be adventure. Watch on YouTube because I'm sure I'll talk about it. Great. Oh my gosh. All right, let's go back. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. And so be prepared for that. Let's go to the comments here. Carolyn says, I want to hear the F-bomb song now. Yeah. Double K hobby farm and homestead life. Any decisions made on what to do with the extra land or space or hoop house? I did a video this week. I'm trying to do more videos and not just live streams. I'm trying to remember that YouTube is for videos too. And so I had talked about like we have an empty pasture here that we haven't had an animal in for probably 7 or 8 years. And I'm trying to be more efficient with the space that we use, and I'm trying to make use of this space that we have, not just have it sitting open, pretty to look at. And so I had made a video saying, what do you guys think I should do with this? So a lot of people had said, put a hoop house out there, there were lots of different suggestions, which I was very glad because when you look at your land, you've seen it the same way ever since you've been here. It's always been the same. And when you try to see things differently, sometimes you get stuck. And so there were lots of suggestions. We have not decided what we're going to do. My husband is actually off today for the first time since I published that video, since I started talking about it. So I'm going to run some things by him and say, all right, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Because I think we have a ton of things we could do, but I think if we were on the same page about what we're going to do, it would probably be it would work better, right? So we will have to figure that out. Hmm. Let's see. The Lots Project says, "Good morning. F-bomb song sounds right up my alley." Yeah, right, right. Nicole says, "My husband stopped asking those kinds of questions. 72 times 4 is very intentional gardening." It is. And I didn't even plant all of them because I realized some of the stuff that I feel like I'm late starting seeds. I'm not, but I feel like I am. But then when I looked on the back of some of the packets, I was like, oh, I don't need to start this yet. So some of the seeds I have, I didn't even start yet. So I only did 3 trays. I did tomatoes and peppers, which I love growing tomatoes and peppers because we make a ton of sauce and all of that. So we always do a lot of tomatoes and peppers. And then I did a whole tray of herbs because I love herbs. And then I did a tray of flowers, you guys. I've never done flowers before. I've never done pretty stuff before, and if you listen to the episode, with Thesia, which released yesterday, because yesterday would have been Thursday, right? She was talking about, live until you die, and just talking about it was such an inspiring episode. She is 60 this year, I think, and so she was talking about being a homesteader and prepper and getting into it and not being 20 anymore, you know? But one of the things she talked about is what she wants to do this year on her homestead. She's been so focused on, um, the functionality of things and getting things to the point they work that she's kind of forgot about beauty and about just having something nice. And so she said she was going to work on making her vineyard pretty this year. And so, yeah, I decided this year, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna plant some flowers this year and see what happens. But as Nicole is saying, plant herbs and flowers to bring in pollinators that will benefit your other plants. See, that is exactly what I needed to hear, Nicole. I'm not just making things pretty. I'm making things pretty and I'm bringing in those pollinators. So that is perfect. That is perfect. All right. I think I made it to the end of the comments that I can see right now. All right. So, yeah, so I got the seed started. So that's always exciting. That just is like one thing to cross off the list. So you're like, oh, all right. But I'm looking forward to having a discussion with my husband about, okay, where are we going from here? What is the plan for this year? What's going on? How are we attacking this? Because if we wait too long, Minnesota has a very short growing season. And if we wait too long, we're going to miss our opportunity this year. So we need to sit down and have some coffee and have a conversation. I'll call it a date. It'll be wonderful. Let's see. Ooh, we have lots of people that are doing flowers. Let's see. Double K Hobby Farm and Homestead Life says, I just started the pretty stuff too with the intention that they have to be edible flowers. There's that too. That's so fancy. Fancy, fancy. Aaron from Two Chicks Homestead says, I can't get into flowers yet, but sunflowers were a game changer last year. We've grown sunflowers a couple years. I guess I mean, they are flowers, but I don't think of them as flowers for some reason. I think because you get the sunflower seeds and the birds come and they eat them. And I don't know why I don't think of them as a flower. Maybe because they're not like in a beautiful flower pot. But we have done sunflowers and we're doing sunflowers again this year. We got some really weird ones from Baker Creek, some like chocolate cherry sunflowers and some, I don't remember the other, like Astra cream or Astral cream or something like that. I don't have the package here, but they're kind of like a pinky creamish color. So yeah. Oh my gosh, everybody's doing all the flowers, planting the bulbs, mystery flowers coming up. So exciting. So exciting. I just wish it would warm up here. Is it ever going to warm up? And stay warm, I should say. It has warmed up, it just doesn't stay. What else? Next on my list. We're almost a half hour into this, and I'm not even to my actual topics yet. I just love our little chats. I always know that we're going to find something fun to talk about. There's always something to talk about. So the other thing I was going to say, and I kind of alluded to this when I was talking about, I had said about Jay teasing me, my husband teasing me about planting all the seeds. Like, do you have to plant all the seeds? And I just don't know if I can continue this relationship, and it was this post and it was obviously a joke. There were some people who didn't think it was a joke. And there were some people who actually then were saying some not very nice things about my husband because they actually believed like he didn't want me to grow food or something. I'm like, clearly you people are new to this show here because this is a joke, whatever. But all of this to say, I feel like the internet has been really internety lately. Do you know what I'm saying? I feel people have been very people-y lately and kind of fired up and just I don't know how to describe it. It'd be one of those things like if it was a full moon, I'd be like, oh man, yeah, people are just like, freaking out because of the full moon. But it's just there's just like a vibe on the internet. And so sometimes lately when I have posted stuff, there have been just some weird comments where people are just angry about life. And then they go into your funny joke, and they try to make it not a joke, and they try to make it not awesome anymore. But I don't know. Yes, we have to point out here, Liberty All Day says, I thought the divorce was already in process due to you finding out he's a police officer. You are right. And that was a funny thing. There were a lot of people that were like, now he's got 2 strikes against him because you found out he was a cop. And so for anybody who did I talk about this on here or just on Nicole's? I don't remember. I had a listener who told me they could no longer listen to me because they realized that my husband was a cop. And so, whatever. And so then the joke became, okay, well, I need to keep this listener, right? So I should probably divorce my husband or tell him to quit his job. So that's where that joke comes from. But yeah, so when I talked about the seed thing, a lot of people were like, wait a second. I thought this was already in process because, he's a cop. You can't be married to a cop. Bad. I'm getting all distracted now. Janelle says, I got the chocolate cherry sunflower from Baker Creek to try this year too. I started planting flowers with my veggies last year and loved the mix of food and beauty. I should try that. Maybe I should put some flowers in my actual vegetable garden. That would be good. Nicole says, we had warmth a month ago and then it's been back to winter, early spring temps. Blah. Lost a bunch of my seedlings because it stayed sub-zero for a couple of days. Yeah, and we always, we call it false spring, right? I don't know if you guys call it false spring, but it'll get warm and in the back of your mind, you're like, it's going to get cold again, but maybe this time it won't. And it always does. Yeah, it's no fun. And especially if you lose stuff. And I get worried because, the trees started budding out and I'm like, I don't know if you should do that yet, but yeah, hopefully we'll get an actual warm up here and then we can all do the things and get on with life. Tammy says, yes, judgy. People have been judgy on the interwebs. Yes. Aaron, Two Chicks Homestead says, it's interesting to see the difference in Facebook comments versus Discord and Telegram comments. It is very interesting because I have found every single community that I'm involved in on a social media network, they will answer differently. There's a different vibe to the conversation. Whatever I post, there's always a different vibe that comes out in all the comments. And so yesterday I posted a question about chickens on Facebook, and y'all, the conversation that resulted was just y'all, I asked a question about, I've always raised Cornish cross as my meat bird, and I've always had it in the back of my, I like raising Cornish cross. I don't have a problem with it. Once we figured out how to feed them, and that you can't just feed them because then they just die. Once we figured out how to feed them, it was fine. We have successful flocks. We butcher. We have lots of meat, and it's wonderful. But you have to buy the chicks every year. And so I've always been looking for what is something that would be close to a Cornish cross type meat, meaning the amount of meat you're going to get out of it. I understand you're not going to have the same thing, but I want close. I don't care how long it takes to raise it up. I don't care how much the chick costs. I just want to experiment with something where I'm going to be able to hatch that bird out at my farm, not have to buy chicks every single year. So that's my question, right? Y'all, if you want to go to Facebook and read the conversation, because I think it's probably the most recent post, or maybe a couple posts down now that I have the live out. It was an interesting conversation. There were some very helpful comments, and then there were comments that were just not helpful at all. It's just like people get very, very touchy about the breeds of chickens that they like and that they don't like. And it's almost like people, it's like people were talking about their kids for a while. That was a little bit crazy. So I don't know what I actually determined from that conversation that was very internety on certain social media platforms. On certain social media platforms, there was a lot of answers and it was wonderful. On other ones, there was a lot of um, fluff or or um, judginess or meanness or whatever, because people are people sometimes. But I totally forgot what I was going to say. Oh, I decided that really the best experiment would be, because I love to experiment. What I would love to do, and I don't think I can do it this year, but maybe next year, get a few, maybe 5, 6 of every kind of breed of chicken that people say is really good for dual purpose, like a really good meat bird. Dual purpose, like, and I don't even care if it's dual purpose because we have egg layers, but if you could make it dual purpose and it worked, whatever. But get a bunch of those that people say, this is the one you should raise. So get maybe 6 of each of maybe 6 different breeds, raise them up, butcher them, and do a comparison of this is what you get. Because there are a lot of people who will say, oh, you're going to get a huge bird. Okay. When you look at the weights that it's listing, sometimes they're saying you're going to get a 10-pound bird. Sometimes that's the live weight. That's not the dressed weight. And I'm looking for the dressed weight, not the live weight, because I'm not putting a live bird in the freezer. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think that would be a really good experiment to do, just to have that like in front of your face. Here's what an Orpington looks like. Here's what a black Astralorp looks like. Here's what a Delaware looks like. Here's what all these different ones that have been suggested. Everybody said, do Red Rangers. I already did Red Rangers. Wasn't super impressed. But I also know it might depend where you get them from, because I've seen people who have done Red Rangers and they're huge and they're beautiful and they're wonderful. And our Red Rangers were just like, nothing to write home about. So I think it could be interesting. It could be interesting. Let's see. Let's go back. Waya Heritage Homestead says they are like that in real life too. People are losing it. Everyone is angry. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people are on edge. A lot of people are just, they're just sick of it. They're just over it. So I totally get it. But it's crazy to see it come out in certain comments. For me, like, if you don't have anything nice to say, like, why are you saying it? I had someone say to my chicken post, I'm like trying to figure out what's the most efficient way to do, whatever. And this person said, why do you care? It's just a chicken. Why are you so picky? that I'm sorry, sir. That's not helping the conversation. Thank you. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in people's lives, and like sometimes you see what people comment and you're like, whoa, there's a lot of stuff behind that. There's a lot of stuff that's, and you don't know what's going on in people's lives, but it's frustrating. It's frustrating that people have to bring it to you. Liberty All Day says Amy lives a real life soap opera. Well, I don't know if I'd go that far. I remember watching soap operas when I was little because my mom watched Days of Our Lives. I think it was Days of Our Lives, Young and the Restless, General Hospital. I think those are the ones. Now I'm on this soap opera thing. Yeah, but those are crazy. That'd be like mom's time, and we'd kind of like see what was going on. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Soap opera life. Yeah. I don't know if I could handle the soap opera life. Now I watch him, or I'll see like, clips from him and think, man, that is just so fake. It's like wrestling. Oh, all right. Another question. Double K Hobby Farm and Homestead Life. So I learned you are new to pressure canning. What is the vegetable or meat you are most excited to process? Everything. I should start with broth because I make a lot of broth. So I would be excited to try that, because I think it'd be an easy way to, just learn the whole process and realize I'm not going to blow up the house with it. My grandma used to can venison for us when I was little, and so that's kinda like the meat that I grew up on, and I just remember it being so good and so awesome, and so I would love to can venison. That would require that we had deer. That would require we had a successful hunting season. What else? Like, everything. Like, I would love to do corn, I would love to do soup, I would love so much stuff, so much stuff. And I need to get going with that. It's like one of those things that's up here with all the millions of, "What do I wanna do? And I should do this," and do you ever feel like your brain just goes to total mush because there's so much to do? Like, sit down and make the list of the things that you want to do, and your brain's just like, "I don't even know if I can figure this out, you guys." It's just that time of year. So I'm not super stressed about it because I know it's just that time of year, but still, sometimes it's like the brain is on shutdown. Ashley says, "Have you ever thought of breeding your own Cornish cross by getting the 2 breeds that produce it?" So here's what I've heard about that. I've heard that it's not just 2 breeds. I've heard it's like this breed makes Cornish cross because and I don't know. I mean, if somebody has information about it, that would be amazing, but I also think that if it was that easy, that more people would be doing it. Because if that was possible, I would absolutely do that. I would absolutely do that. It's just that I think there must be something tricky about it. There must be something more to it, or more people would be doing it. I find there's so many experiments we've done at the farm that I'm like, "Why aren't more people doing this?" And then I realize it doesn't work. That's why nobody's doing it, which is a bummer. It's a bummer. Yeah. Liberty All Day says too much fear porn on the news and in the media. It's negatively affecting so many people. Yeah, I love that word fear porn or phrase, I guess. I love it because that's absolutely what it is. It's absolutely what it is. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So much going and I don't watch the news. Most of what I see, I will get from social media. But I'm like, "Oh, a bunch of people are posting about this. I should probably go see what's going on." But man, crazy. Aaron from Two Chicks Homestead says, "I laugh about comments like that, and then I'll think about it for the next 20 years." Yeah. Yeah. Oh, boy. Now we're talking soaps. Liberty All Day says, "One life to live." Ashley, down a little further, says, "As the world turns." Yep. Yep, yep, yep. I don't even know which of those are still is that still a thing? Do people still watch soap operas? Did that change with I mean, I don't even know how to explain why that would change. I feel like with reality TV and all the different options of things to watch, are soap operas still a thing? I don't know. Maybe. I'll have to go look. It was soap operas and then it was talk shows like Oprah and Phil Donahue. Oh my gosh, now I'm really showing my age, you guys. Phil Donahue and Geraldo and who else? Who else was on there? I can see people's faces and I can't think of their names. Dr. Phil, that was at the very, very end of me being at home, I think. Crazy. All right. Um, Nicole says, "I just scrolled through." She must be talking about the Facebook post about the chickens and laughed at the rabbit suggestion. Bird versus mammal. I appreciate they're an option, but that was not the question. It's funny because, yeah, there was a lot of people who, like I wrote out the question. "I'm asking about chickens. Here's my experience. Here's what I want to know. If you have experience that would help me figure this out, please post in the comments." And so there was a lot of people who were like, "What about Muscovy ducks?" I have Muscovy ducks. I have these ducks. What about rabbits? We're gonna get rabbits next year, I think. But the question was about chickens. Like, I appreciate the suggestions, but we have to read the post. We have to read the posts. Tammy says, "Nobody bothered me during Days of Our Lives." So it must still be on? It must still be on? I wonder if I would recognize any other people. I don't know. Aaron at Two Chicks Homestead says, "Jack was doing something with Cornish cross breeding, but I never followed it all the way." So Jack Spirko at the Survival Podcast. I'm gonna have to go look that up. Mm. Mm. Ashley says, yes, the older ladies in the nursing homes still have to watch their shows. Well, that's good to know. That's good to know. Oh my gosh, there we go. Nicole, Sally, Jesse, Raphael. That was one of the talk shows. That was one of the faces that I was seeing. I can still see her face and her glasses. Yep. Oh my gosh. Yes. And now everybody's saying Jerry Springer, Jerry Springer. No, that was not anything that I watched. I don't know if my mom would have let me watch that, or there was probably something on at the same time that she was watching, because one TV, and we didn't have cable or anything like that because we weren't going to pay for TV. Can you imagine paying for TV? And now how many different streaming services do we pay for? It's so crazy how the world changes. Ricky Lake, Liberty All Day says Ricky Lake. Yes, Ricky Lake. That was another one. I remember thinking it was so crazy when she was in the movie Hairspray. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's Ricky Lake from the talk show. Ah, yeah. Okay. What else? Oh, here was another thing. Maybe I don't even know if we're going to get to my topic again. That's okay. Next on my list. This is just in my intro. My intro, it takes 40 minutes, apparently. It's okay. These are the random, chatty, wonderful. This is Coffee with Amy. So if you ever meet me in real life, this is Coffee with Amy with probably a little more profanity. And the F-bomb song. All right, so merchandise. This is what I was going to ask y'all about. I had 2 emails this week from 2 people who were asking where they can get merchandise. Someone, I don't know if they were listening to an old podcast episode or I talk a lot, so I may have mentioned something about it, but they were asking, you used to have shirts, and oddly enough, I'm wearing one today. So Farmish Life Best Life is a shirt that I sold for a while, and people love that shirt. I went through a company that I don't know if I will go through them anymore. I haven't done this for a couple years. When COVID hit and the supply chains were all messed up, it was really hard to get t-shirts, or they would say, we can make your t-shirts, but we only have 2 colors that we can get. And so I stopped making shirts. Now there are so many different places that make shirts, right? And there are so many different ways you can do it. I like the idea of, where you put out a thing and people order what they want, and then the company prints it and the company ships it to the people. That's really awesome. But there's also issues with that. There's also reasons that I think I might want to do a bulk order of shirts and just have them here at my house and ship them out when people want them, have them for sale on my website. I don't know. There's lots of different ways that you can do it. The other thing is that I don't know if I can reach it from here, but I'm going to go off camera for 2 seconds here. So my husband has engraving business. And so we're getting the ASMR here because I'm unwrapping something. This one, I don't know if that's going to show up in there. It says sprinkle some happy, because I say that a lot. I like to sprinkle some happy. And so I had made some mugs or tumblers that were like this. So he makes those, and I have other tumblers that I make, but I don't I have all this merchandise I want to do, but I don't exactly know how to get it out there. I don't know if I should have it for sale on my site. I don't know if I should have it for sale, direct people to other people's sites, because it would all be coming from different places. The tumblers and engraving stuff would be coming from us, from our house, from my husband's business. T-shirts would be coming from somewhere else. If I had stickers, I'd probably be getting them somewhere else. So, do any of you all, and I know that Brian from the Lots Project has a hookup for shirts. I have ordered shirts through him. But do any of you all have anybody you work with? Anybody that you like? Anybody that you don't like? If you don't like, maybe message me, because I don't want to be talking bad about anybody here on YouTube and get in trouble. But yeah, that's the other thing. See, now someone is saying, Lena's saying, get is that a cricket? Is that what it is? See, I'm so lame. I don't even know these things. And make your own. So can you do shirts with that? See, I don't even know. I would be totally cool with making my own shirts here. And doing that whole thing, because that seems to be the thing that people do now. They just make all their own stuff. So I could totally see doing that. It's just I don't know what kind of investment that is, and I don't know how much space it takes. We have somebody locally who has had a screen printing and an embroidery business for probably 30 years. She's a really amazing woman, but she's super busy. Like, she's doing very well for herself, and is always, always, always busy. So I had considered maybe I could have her make my shirts, but I she's super busy, so I don't know that she could even take that on. So I don't know. I would love to get stuff out there more. Ashley says, "Farmish beanies." Yes, because y'all, I wear hats all the time. So then I could be wearing my Farmish beanie and my Farmish shirt. And I need to do shirts because here's the thing. These shirts that I have right now, I think the last time I ordered shirts was probably, I mean, it was pre-COVID. So how many years are we into that mess? Um, and they are, I'm a hardworking girl, y'all. And so my shirts are very sweat stained, if you know what I'm saying. So I need new shirts because some of these, like, I won't wear in public anymore because you know what I'm saying. So I got to figure this out. So your job, I guess, is to kick my butt about this because I think it could be good. And do you think I should someone like should I have a spot on my website to sell all this stuff? And I don't understand how to make that happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am not a technical, logical person. Like, I understand how to make a store, but then, like, am I sending people to other people's websites to order this stuff, or do I make it on my website? Do you know what I'm saying? I should really just stop babbling about this and just research it and do it, right? Amy, put it on your list. Put it on your list. I'm writing it down right now. Merch. Let's see, what do we say? Beanies and t-shirts, tumblers. Dead space on the podcast. All right. There we go. Yeah, we've got lots of suggestions. Farmish beanies. I love the stickers. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that. This is one of the things I'll tell my husband. I say I want to do this because I want everything to be here. I don't want to have to order out for it. And then in 2 hours, he'll have it all figured out because he loves to research. That's the great thing about him. Well, there's many great things about him, let's be honest, but, he's really good at when I have something that I wanna get into, he just goes on the research path, and he's like, "Alright, this is how we're gonna do it." So that's why I have the podcast. That's why I have the podcast because I said, "You know what? I think I would like to do a podcast," and, like, a day later, my family was like, "Here's what you need to do. Here's the equipment you're getting." Okay. So, it's good. It's good. Alright. Liberty all day says, "Just do it, girl." Yeah. Driftless Oaks Farm. Hello, Tom. Good morning, all, he says. Aaron at Two Chicks Homestead says, "That's Nate too. He will read all the stuff so I don't have to." Yeah, I appreciate that. And my hubby is like a YouTube university kind of guy. He does not like to read, so he will watch videos and watch it like he will suck that stuff in watching videos. I cannot learn watching videos, which is weird because I make videos, right? But yeah, he likes to suck in all the information and make the best decision and then present it to me and say, "Here are your options. What would you like to do?" And then I say, "This is what we're going to do." And it's a great partnership, you all. Brian from the Homestead Journey says, "I thought he was hating on the seed starting." You missed our conversation about that before. Yeah, so as it turns out, I did end up buying way more stuff than I did last year. I thought I was doing like a 36 little cell tray, and I had actually bought 72 cell trays times 4, which is literally more than twice what I did last year, or more than double what I did last year. So that really was what he was commenting on. And so I told him I would come on the live stream today and apologize and be like, "You were right. You were right, darling. You were right." It is crazy up in here. All right. So we have 10-ish minutes left. So here's a topic that I wanted to talk about today. I was wondering if y'all could tell me, because we are in this time of the year where for me it just feels like I've already said, my brain feels like mush. Oh my gosh, there's so much to do. We're trying to figure out how to save time, how to get more done, all of that. I'm wondering, have you ever done something that you thought was gonna save you time, like, "This is going to be my time-saving thing," and it actually took you more time. Like, it was a time-saving fail, and the reason I was thinking about this is back in the day when we had our first house. So, we bought our first house when I was 21, moved out of there when I was 28, I think. So, those 7 years we were there, uh, we were right in town, we were right on Main Street, but we had a decent yard, like a decent front yard and a decent backyard for living right in town on Main Street, and I didn't like to mow, right? I was like, "I hate mowing, you guys, it's such a waste of time," and we had a vegetable garden in the backyard, but I decided, "You know what I should do? You know what would save me time so I didn't have to mow anymore?" I have lost my mouse. Where did my mouse go? I was gonna clear this comment. There we go. So you know what would save me time so I don't have to mow anymore? I'm going to turn my front yard into a perennial garden. And it's gonna be beautiful. I'm gonna have paths. I'm gonna have these like concrete stone paths, and I'm going to put hostas in. I'm gonna put all these boxes in. It's gonna be so beautiful because I'm not gonna have to mow. It's gonna save me so much time. I just want you all to know there were multiple times where I was working on that perennial garden in my front yard, and I was thinking, it would have been so much faster to just mow the yard. This is not saving me any time at all. It was beautiful. It was wonderful. Lots of people, they just, they drive by and be like, "Oh, it's so beautiful. You're making everything so lovely." But it did not save me time. It took me so much time. So sometimes when I hear people say things like, "You should just turn your yard into a vegetable garden because that would save you so much time in mowing," I think you all. Now, mowing is kind of a waste of time. I mean, to me, having a big yard and having to mow, it's like, there's other ways you could use that space, but you have to be careful when you say it's going to save time if I don't have to mow, but I'm going to put in this thing that's actually going to take me more time. So, our front yard in town was very beautiful, but it was a lot of work. So, maybe it's just a caution when you think you're going to save yourself time, maybe dig into that a little bit and make sure that it's actually going to save you time. Another thing that I believe will make me more productive, it's not really saving time, it's making more time and make me more productive, will be waking up super early to get stuff done. And I have learned, I mean, I am an early riser, like, I'm an early morning person, but I have learned getting up extra early to get more stuff done is not always super productive, because if you get up super early and your brain is mush and you sit in your chair like this drinking your coffee for an hour, you probably could have stayed in bed for another hour, woke up, had an hour more rest, and been more productive. Something else that I used to do, um, because I work from home and my commute to my job is literally like my bedroom's up there and my office is right here, so all I gotta do is walk down the stairs. I would wake up, I would let the dogs out, I would start a pot of coffee, and I would sit down at my desk. So there was maybe, from the time I had sat up in bed, there was maybe 10 minutes between waking up, coming downstairs, sitting in my office. Y'all, don't do that. You are not productive when you immediately start working 10 minutes after you wake up. That first bit of work is not productive at all. And that is actually something that I learned very recently. I actually put hours on my office work, and I said, "I am not going to go into my office until 7 o'clock, 7 AM." I'm usually up between 4 and 5 because I'm just an early morning riser. That's when my body gets up, but I am not going to start my work until 7 because I'm thinking, "You know what? If I worked outside the home, I would be getting stuff ready, I'd be doing chores, I'd be prepping for whatever I needed to, have ready for later when I came home. I would have the commute to my job. I would talk around the water cooler a little bit, and then I'd sit down and do my work, right?" So, sometimes I think if you work from home, you can be like, "I'm gonna be so productive because I can just, like, suck everything out of every minute of the day." And so it's a reminder that's not always super productive. So I have a couple more things here, but I see y'all are talking here. Liberty all day says bullet journaling. I spent so much dang time getting the journal set up that I was exhausted by the time I was ready to fill it in. Yeah, I never tried bullet journaling, but I saw people who did it and I loved the concept of it. Like it was artistic and it was organized in a different way, but to me it almost felt like I would have the same experience as you. Like it would be this setup and okay, now we've got this process and now it's too much work for me to fill it in. But it works for some people. So you've just got to find what works for you. Ashley B says the watering system for the garden last year created so much extra work. Oh, that is so frustrating because I bet you thought it was going to be awesome and that's why you did it. And then it made so much work. Ugh. Let's see. Driftless Oaks Farm says pre-building pantry shelves in a 1900s era farmhouse where nothing is straight, square, or plumb. Instead of rectangles, I made trapezoids of varying widths. Yeah. Yeah, those older houses. And I don't have a Supro. I mean, my house was built in 67, I think, but yeah, nothing is straight, nothing is square, nothing is plumb. Yeah, you think you're saving time by doing that, and you're not. And that's frustrating. That's frustrating because you're like, I'm gonna save the time, I'm gonna do the thing, and then it's just you're like, okay, now I have to spend twice as long fixing what I thought was actually going to be more productive. Sonny's place says getting up super early is a no-go for me. Takes more time to really wake up to be productive. Yeah. Yeah. And Driftless Oaks Farm says, I'm not an early morning guy. Nope. Night owl, yes. I can go late into the night. It's so funny how we are all wired differently. Isn't that crazy? My husband is a night owl. My kids are night owls. I am not a night owl. When if I am up past 8:30 at night, my boys will be like, "Whoa, mom, you are such a party animal." I do think that things shift a little bit, like, as we get going in the farm here now, when the world starts to wake up, the farm world starts to wake up, I will shift so I am staying up a little bit later because I'm not gonna go to bed before the sun goes down, obviously, and as things get busier on the farm, we are working until it's dark out, but so it shifts a little bit, but yeah, I still prefer, like, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock is my wake up time, and if my husband has to get up that early, he's just like, I don't understand who these people are that think this is a functional way to live." So, yeah, the great thing is, if you have the flexibility to be able to, make your life work around that, like, I have a job where I can wake up as early as I want and start working if I wanted to, and my husband works nights, so that works really well. My kids are now excited because they are such night owls that they realize that they could get an overnight job now. So they're excited about that because when they started looking for work, when they were 15, 16, 17, they're like, "I wanna go to work at, like, 10 o'clock at night and then come." I'm like, "You can't. Nobody's going to hire a 16-year-old to work an overnight shift. I'm sorry." So now they have just realized, they're like, "Wait a second, I could be looking for a different job where I could work an overnight shift, and that would just, like, work so much better with their natural body rhythms." So Liberty All Day says, I like to get up early and get a head start on my day. The more I get done, the more downtime I have earned. Yeah, it all works. It all works. Whatever works for you. Sonny's place says, I do that morning commute you just described, except today there's no water cooler talk. I'm drinking coffee while listening to you. Oh, so I get to be your water cooler talk? All right. Well, I hope that it's been um good. I don't know. I'm running out of words, you guys. Mm. All right. What else? Oh, man, it's been an hour. It's been an hour. I'm trying to think if there was anything so I could button up this. There was one more thing on this productivity thing. Um, Sometimes we think I should stop doing. No, let's frame this differently. Sometimes, especially go-getters, like I would assume most of the people in this chat right now are go-getters. Sometimes you don't know when to stop. sometimes you're being really productive, and so you feel, I'm just going to keep going, I'm going to keep going, I'm going to keep going, I'm not going to stop, I'm not going to take a break. And something I have had to learn is, y'all, you can be doing something really productive and really wonderful and really good and really helpful, and you still have to take a break. You have to know when it's time to be done for the day. That is the biggest struggle with working from home and having an office that I can open the door and pop back in and just do a few more things. I've had to learn there's a time to shut the door, there's a time to be done for the day. I have had to learn that I need to be better about taking a day where I'm not doing anything for my business. That is my weekend. Y'all have, like, weekends, right? Weekends don't exist in our house. They really have never existed in our house because my husband's job is, he works whenever he works, and we homeschooled, so we weren't like, we didn't care about the weekend because my kid, like, that's not how our house was set up. So weekends really aren't a thing for us. But it has come to my attention. My husband has said, you know what, you don't have to work every day. The problem is I really like what I do. I love writing. I love podcasting. I love making videos. Like, I love what I do, but I still have to learn, you know what, this day, done. You're not going in your office. You're not doing any podcasting. You're not doing any interviews. You are not writing. You are not doing that. You are just doing nothing. Or you're going to have a weekend where you're going to say, we're going to go visit people, or we're going to go do whatever. We're going to do something fun, or we're just not going to do anything. So that is, it works against the logic of productivity in my head because it's, let's keep doing, let's keep doing, let's keep doing. But that's not always the most productive. Not always the most productive. Aaron from, I lost my mouse again. What is up with this mouse? Aaron from Two Chicks Homestead said, what is a weekend, right? Yeah. What is a weekend? Ashley says, yep, working through lunches or forgetting that the family needs dinner when I'm on a big project. Yeah. Yeah. Like, what time is it? Oh my gosh. Last time I looked at the clock, it was 11 a.m. and now it's 4. What are we having for supper? I don't, yeah. It's especially hard when you like what you're doing. It's especially hard when you get into a project that you like and you understand there's value and it's something that needs to be done. Like, we need to do it. It needs to get done, but yeah. All right. Brian from the Homestead Journey says, it is hard for me to take a day off from the homestead. I always feel guilty. Yeah, I bet a lot of people in this chat feel the same way. We are all go-getters. We are go-getters. And so it's hard to take a day off. It's hard to have that downtime. But maybe we all need to remind each other that downtime is very important. Downtime is necessary because if you don't take a break, your body will make you take a break. Your body will tell you when. Like Tammy just said, I have fibromyalgia, so unfortunately my body tells me when I'm done for the day. Yeah. Yeah, some of us get those messages and we have to listen, and some of us don't get those messages, but we still need to listen to them. So, yeah. Double K Hobby Farm says, yes, and especially now with stage 4. My mind is good, but my body doesn't keep up. Yeah. Yeah, man. I wish there was some way to make taking a break more acceptable, more, and it's not that people out there tell us not to take a break, it's us, right? Because my husband will be like, "Why are you working today?" Like, "It's Sunday, you shouldn't be working." And then I'll always say, "You are the last person who should tell me not to work on a Sunday because you have worked Sundays for the last 22 years I've known you, you know?" So yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Martinson family says, get to town and wonder why everything is closed. Forgot it's Sunday. Yeah. Yeah, I very rarely know what date is. I sometimes will remember it's Friday and I have a live stream. Like this morning, I was like, oh my God, it's Friday. I have a live stream. But if you're in Discord with me, you will know that there are days when I will say, Happy Wednesday. And someone will come back and say, Amy, it's not Wednesday. I never know. So maybe that's why I say it in Discord, because I know someone will correct me and I'll be like, oh, that's right. It's only Tuesday, or it's Monday or Saturday, whatever. Aaron says, I just saw a meme that said, why is it okay to take time off from a day job, but not your 24/7 job? Ain't that the truth? That's, yeah. Yeah. The Homestead Journey says, my wife needs way more sleep than me. I have to remind myself of that fact. Yeah, we are all wired differently, especially in different stages of our life. You know, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. All right. Well, it has been an hour. It is now time for me to go do chores in this wind, this incredible wind that we are having today. It is not warm outside. I'm going to have to bundle up like it's, January or something. It's crazy. But it has been fabulous chatting with you all today. I love remembering that it's Friday and that I have a live stream. I just know one of these days people are going to be like, Amy, were you going to hop on your live stream? It's Friday. So what have we got coming out next week? I will have more videos coming out next week because YouTube is not just for live streaming, I guess, although I'm having a lot of fun with live streaming. Remember to check out the Farmish newsletter. If you subscribe to the Farmish newsletter, you should have your April issue by now, unless you're in Canada, because Canada takes forever. But so hopefully you receive that. If you haven't, let me know. Sometimes things get confused, especially if you are a new subscriber. Sometimes the address that I get from PayPal is not the address that you meant me to send it to. So if you are a new subscriber, check out the address you have in PayPal for that. If you're not subscribed to it, head over to farmishkindoflife.com and look in the menu and you will find information about the Farmish Papers, which is the monthly snail mail newsletter that I send out, which is so fun. I'm having so much fun with that. My Tuesday Farmish Kind of Life podcast, the topic is You Can Only Do So Much, which is kind of funny considering what we just talked about, but it's a little bit different. So hopefully you'll get something out of that. Fireside Freedom this coming week is protecting the garden and the animals. So we're going to be talking about predator protection on the homestead. Thursday, I have a super great interview with a member of the community. Her name is Michelle, and she talks about the concept of garden therapy and how it has really helped her nonverbal autistic son. So that's a really great interview that I think you all will like. And then Friday, we will have another Farmish chat, and that will, oh no, I was going to say it'll be the last Farmish chat before I leave for LF10, but it's not. There's 2 more before I leave for LF10. The week I'm at LF10, there will not be a live chat, but maybe I'll throw something up so you have something, not throw something up, but put something up on the on the YouTube so you'll have a little message from me on Friday morning. Who knows? We'll see what happens. We'll see how much I get done. I don't know. All right. Well, you guys have an awesome, awesome day. Thanks for hanging out with me and have a wonderful weekend or whatever you call the next 2 days. I don't know. Have a great day.